Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. Welcome back. If you're new to me, my name is Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So really hope you're here because what's going to happen. If you're not new to me, welcome back. Glad to have you. Today for you, I have my January haul. These are all the books I have accumulated and bought in the month of January. Also all the books that I've hid from my husband, and now he's going to find out all the ones that I bought, because I strategically just put them back on my shelves. So there's that. So we're just gonna get started. The first book I have here is the first book in the Mirror Visitors series. It is a trilogy, originally translated from, I believe, French, and it's The Winter Promise by Christelle Dabos. I bought this for a readathon that's coming up this month, so you will see this again very, very shortly in a future video. The next book I have, you already seen if you watched my TBR for 2022 video. I'll link it down below. And that is Emily Duncan's Wicked Saints. This was really a cover buy originally because I love the cover. And the synopsis, from what I can gather from it, is something that I think I will really like, with the whole saints and sinners, war, dichotomy, good of evil. I will eat that shit up. So, Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. I do not own the rest of the series though. I was not going to buy it unless I really liked this one. So, however, that is not the same for this series. I own all the rest of the books in the series, but I've only read the first one, and that is the Witchlands series. So I finally have the fourth one, so I can marathon 1 through 4. I read the first one about a year and a half ago, and the first one was Truth Witch, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure I gave it 4.5 stars, maybe 5. I'd have to double check on that one, but I know it was very much up there. It was one of my favorite books of that year, and I just haven't continued on with the rest of the series because, you know, that's what happens with series. You enjoy them and then you just forget you enjoyed them and don't carry on with them. So this came out, I found it on Book Outlet, so I definitely picked it up at Book Outlet, so I didn't have to pay like the $25 price of it. I only paid like $8 for it. So, and it's hardcover. We like it. Who doesn't like a good hardcover? Some more books that I got. This is another repeat. You saw my 2022 TBR video, and that is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm really excited about reading this book. I really want to get it read this year and find out what the big hype is about this book and why it is so fantastic. So I definitely purchased it this month to make sure I had it so I could include it in a TBR hopefully soon. I don't know why I just did bunny ears, but hopefully very, very soon. So the next book I picked up was because last year I bought the sequel to it and I didn't realize it was the sequel. I have done this multiple times now. I have a small problem with this. And I don't know if it's going to get better. But anyway, so I bought this book so I could read the second one because the second one's synopsis sounded fantastic. So, and that is H.G. Perry's A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians. I do not know what this series is called, but this is the first book in that series. And from what I can gather, it takes place during the French Revolution, but there's magic involved, and so it's fantasy mixed with actual historical events, and I think that's really, really cool because I love historical fiction, and I am starting to really, really, really appreciate high fantasy, magic systems, and things like that. So combining the best of both worlds, I'm really, really excited about this one. I didn't put it on my to read for 2022 because I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I hope that I get to it soon because I think I'm really going to like this one. Because I mean, I bought the second one because of the synopsis and I thought the synopsis sounded awesome. So hopefully I will like the first one to want to continue on with the second one. I did get some more Jennifer Cheverini works, and she's one of my favorite historical fiction authors. I got her Women's March, the novel of 1913 women's suffrage procession. I was a women's history major in college, so I know a lot about this time period and this event, and so I'm really excited to read this. I love Jennifer Cheverini's work. I've read quite a few books from her. You can't see them because they're up here on this shelf, but I have quite a nice little collection of hers growing. Mrs. Lincoln's Dressmaker is one of my favorite books. I loved it so much, and my godmother actually turned me on to this author. So, years ago, and I'm still obsessed with her. So, I picked that one up, and then I picked up her Lincoln Sisters. I already have this book, but I only have it in paperback, and I want it in hardcover, and I found a book outlet in hardcover. So I'm going to donate my paperback to either my local library or the local high school library that I went to, and replace it with a nice hardback so all my Jennifer Cheverini books match. Because, you know, they have to match. It's a thing. And my book of the month subscription, this book was the one I chose for January. I chose the historical fiction option, and that is the Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis. It sounded the most interesting to me. I don't remember right now what the synopsis is about it, but I remember reading all the options and thinking this is the one that stuck out to me the most. This is the one that I kept going back to. I'm like, I want to actually research this. So it's going to go on my book of the month shelf down here and hopefully get read soon. I grabbed quite a few fantasies this month. And the first one I grabbed was Greta Kelly's The Frozen Crown. I bought this also for a readathon, which you will see in a later video as well. It just seemed like something that I would enjoy. And when I went to Barnes & Noble, it was not a sequel. It was not a trilogy. It was actually the first book in a series. And it met my qualifications for the readathon that I'm participating in, which I will have a video up for later on this week. But it sounded really interesting about a girl who accepts a crown and then she has to defend her empire against these armies. And I think there's a marriage involved that she's forced to marry somebody. So sounds kind of up my alley. We'll see. I also picked up Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice. I can't speak today. Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice. I'm going to jump on this bandwagon. I see Robin Hobb all over the place, and I hear amazing things about her. An amazing book, amazing comments about all of her books, all of her series in general. She's got multiple series that are all within like this one realm. And this is book one of the Farseer trilogy. From what I was told, if you want to read Robin Hobb, read this series first. So that's why I picked this one up. And I just love the foiling on this cover. I love the Renaissance style font and the crest. And it's so pretty and it's going to look awesome. And I love the aged paper look. It's kudos on the cover. Just wish it was like a nice big floppy paperback versus a little tiny guy. The next book I picked up is on my to be read by 2022, and that is the first book in the Wheel of Time series, Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I wanted the hardback version, so I bought the hardback one. This is the first in a very long series that is completed, and it's been turned into a television show on Amazon Prime, which seems to have mixed reviews, but I still really want to watch it, but I would rather read the book first before I actually watch the show. So I found out about this next series on Jade Reads. She's a really big fan of this series and she gushed about it. She, one of her to be read in 2022 video, she wanted to read the third book in this series. And then she just went on for like 5 minutes about the first book. And so I was like, okay, so I'll check it out. And it seemed like it was really interesting. And that is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. It seems really, really interesting. So I'm all for people who, like it says, what if you weren't the hero? I'm all for, you know, sometimes rooting for the villains and rooting for the bad guys and kind of seeing their stories. I like seeing the opposite end of stories, not always reading stories written from the winner's perspective. I like to hear from the losers sometimes, because their stories are just as interesting as the winners. I mean, yeah, I like the happy ending that they won and everything, but sometimes the bad guy has a point. I have no idea if that's what's going on with this, but that's just kind of the vibe that I get. So I'm interested to take a look into it. But it is a high fantasy series, so I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I'm looking forward to it. The next fantasy book I bought was Marion Zimmer Bradley's The Mists of Avalon. So, interesting thing about this book. I bought this book because my sister has it. I wanted to read something a long time ago. I was still in junior high because where I was living when I was reading the book. I was still in junior high. And my mom told me to go ask my sister for a book. Now, my sister is very big into Anne Rice. That is her favorite author. So anything along those lines is her favorite. She also read the entirety of the Song of Ice and Fire series that has been released. She's a really big Sarah J. Maas fan. Moss, however you say her name. Really big into her books. So a lot of high fantasy, but she also really likes a lot of historical fiction. Margaret George was introduced to me by my sister. So when I went to ask my sister for a book, mind you, I'm in junior high. Like, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade. Okay? And she hands me this. I just got done, like, I was reading the Dear America books and the Nancy Drew books, the yellow hardbacks, and Goosebumps. Like, that's what I was still reading at this time. I was starting to read a little bit more, but not that much. And Harry Potter hadn't come out yet. So she hands me this. And I was like, what? This is so big. How am I supposed to read this? But I sure as shit tried. I think I got maybe 20 pages in and I'm like, this is way too advanced for me right now. So I just kind of slightly gave it back to her. So when I saw it at Barnes & Noble the other day, I was like, I'm going to buy that and I'm going to fucking read it because I want to know what it's about. So yeah, I know because of the synopsis that it's an Arthurian legend retelling of King Arthur. So I think that's really cool. I'm a really big fan of Camelot. Obviously, I'm Jackie Kennedy. Camelot is alive and well, people. It did not fall. I'm still here. No, I'm just playing. But Camelot is kind of like a running joke through in my family because my name is Jackie Kennedy. I even put it in my vows that we need to start our own Camelot. So I'm kind of, I really want to see what this is up to. So I'm really excited about this one a lot. The next book I picked up was actually my Red Witch Bitchin' Book Club book of the month. That's the book club I'm a part of with two of my best friends. And eventually, hopefully, you guys will get to meet. And maybe I'll do like a video of one of our book chats because they turned into the coolest conversations. So much wine and so much bitching. It's great. But this month's pick was The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kiersten White. So I picked it up to read it. I love this cover. This cover is glorious. I love all of it. I'll talk more about it in my wrap up, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It is a retelling of Dr. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. From a female's perspective, Kiersten White has to flip her books, gender flips, which I do like that idea. I think it's really neat that she does that. So I picked it up and I did complete it, and it wasn't bad. But I'll talk more about it in my wrap up. So. The next books I bought were a completion of the series that I actually began here for my TBR, and that is the Rocky Mountain series by Lori Wick. I got the rest of the series, which includes Whispers of Moonlight, Know Her by Name. I thought I bought a hardback, but I ended up getting like an old library copy, which is okay. It has character. It's fine. And then Promise Me Tomorrow. So now I have the whole Rocky Mountain series, so I can marathon the rest of the series. I really enjoyed book 1. Again, I will talk about it in my wrap up for this month, but I really want to get the rest of the series. And these are, if I had to categorize them, I would say they're like Christian romance. That's what I kind of got from the first book, was kind of a Christian-based romance. And she is a Christian author, so I thought it was really nice that these books still appealed to me. So I thought it was really neat. Now to go on a completely polar opposite side of the Christian side, I decided, because, you know, I am in my 30s and I do love a good smut book every once in a while, to pick up some of those. So I picked up Shayla's Black Decadent. This is the second in the Wicked Lovers novel. For my book club, we read Wicked Ties. And my book club unanimously thought the ending sucked. We all kind of unanimously thought there were parts of that book that weren't the most kind to women and were kind of bullshit. But this series, it doesn't go into the people that we talked about in the first book. It's more of like a companion series. And that's what I find with a lot of romance series or smut series, whatever you want to call them. They're usually, each book's like a companion. You've met this character in the first book, but now we're going to talk about this one. And this one follows the character that I actually did like in that book. So I'm kind of anxious to find out what his story is. And, but even though I didn't it wasn't like my favorite book, I definitely read it in a grand total of 2 days and in 2 sittings because I couldn't put it down. The scenes were great. So I'm hoping this is just as steamy as those. The next book along those lines that I bought was Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. So I am participating in a readathon this month, and one of the prompts was an icy word or a cold word. And bonus points if you can guess the readathon just based off of that one prompt. So let me know down below if you can figure out what the prompt with the readathon is without watching the readathon TBR video that's going to be coming up this week. And I thought, because it's Valentine's Day, I need to put some kind of romance novel within that TBR. And so I typed in romance novels with cold words, and this thing came up. And when I read the synopsis, I about died. I was at work, and I called my coworker, Amy, over, because she reads about the same kind of level of books. She's really into them, and she's like, wow, that sounds like something I'd read. I about lost my shit. I did. It is a smut book. It involves an ice planet and blue aliens. What else are you gonna say about it? Like, there's nothing else you can't see. So I'm really hoping that my personal book club book of the month it's my pick, because we alternate picks. I really hope, because I really want to make this the book club, because I know Shayla gonna eat this shit up like it's candy. I know, because I know her. She will devour that. And I also saw a review from it on Gabby Reads. I'll try to link her down below. She reviewed this book, and I watched the first 5 minutes, and I was like, and I don't want to be spoiled, so I'm going to stop. But it's exactly what I think it's going to be, so it's going to be a good time. It might not be the best form of literature, but it might be a good time. That's all I gotta say. The next books I got were all nonfiction books. Yes, I did buy some nonfiction books. And they are memoir, biographies, autobiographies, however you want to call them. The first one I picked up was Idiot by Laura Clary, a fellow YouTuber. Yay! I'm a huge fan of Laura Clary. She's hilarious. Her Help Helen Smash shitty pickup lines, I can't get enough of. I think they're hilarious. So, big fan of her, so I definitely wanted to pick this up and give it and try it out. Another comedian-style book was Eliza Schlesinger. I know I'm fucking her name up. I know. Girl Logic, The Genius and the Absurdity. I'm a big fan of her stand-up. I love watching her stand-up comedy. I mean, even in this book, she makes a point of making fun of how people say her last name. So the fact that I just butchered her last name kind of just proves the point. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of hers. So when I saw this on Book Outlet, I was like, hell yeah, that's mine. Thank you. I will take it. I will take it and I will read it or listen to it. But I love her stand-up, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to love this. I really hope I do. So the next book I got, I also found on Book Outlet, and I've been wanting this for a while, and that is Motley Crue's The Dirt. And I got the anniversary edition that they had in this nice little case, and so the book comes out, and then you've got it's backwards. You've got the Jack Daniels bottle. I'm a huge Motley Crue fan. I usually tend to fall for the lead singer, but Motley Crue is the only band that I'm obsessed with the bass guitarist. I love Nikki Sixx. I think he's fantastic. Super talented, super creative, and just, well, he's Italian, so I like the Italians. And my husband's Italian, so go figure. But yeah, so I found this on Book Outlet, and I definitely wanted to pick it up so I could have it for my collection. Because I like rock biographies, autobiographies of like bands that I am fans of. I don't just like reading those about random people. I like them to be about people that I'm already a fan of. It just makes me a bigger fan. It gets me to know them better, and I just love it. So I definitely bought this when I saw it. I was like, that's mine. Click. Mine. Thanks. Bye. Have a nice day. And the last book I bought was Clanlands by Sam Hewn and Graham McTavish. Whiskey, warfare, and Scottish adventure like no other. I'm a big Outlander fan. I have not watched the show because we don't have stars, but I've seen enough clips of it, and I've read the books enough to know. But I think Sam Hewn is just perfect as Jamie Fraser, and Graham McTavish, I'm a huge fan of him. I've seen many of his films, loved him in The Hobbit, loved him in this. The few scenes I've seen of him in Outlander, I think he does a fantastic job. I just check them out on YouTube. But I picked this up because I just think this will be super, super interesting. And there's some really neat pictures in here. And I know that they are really good friends in real life. So I can only imagine what the banter is going to be like. So I'm really excited about that one. Also, Sam Hewn is quite yummy. I have a hard time choosing between him and Henry Cavill. Not gonna lie. I don't know which one I would prefer. Can I just have a sandwich? A Henry Cavill and Sam Hewn sandwich? Could that be a thing? I don't know if I can handle that. Is it hot in here? Anyway, guys, that's my book haul. That is all the books I got for January. I'm not going to try to do the lift thing because it's super heavy. Because there's like 22 something books here. But I bought a lot of books. And now my husband's going to watch this video and see all the books I bought and be like, Jackie, why'd you buy all these books? Really? I'm going to go buy some magic cards now because you bought all these books. Guarantee you. He's going to say something like that. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. So if you like this video, thumbs up it, hit subscribe down below, and I will see you all back soon with the next video, which will be my January wrap up. So later, guys. Take care. Have a good time. Stay safe. All that jazz. Bye, guys.